Hello and welcome to LSU Focus. It is post-match reaction show time after Liverpool have just thrown away yet another vital 2 points in the title race after ORIGI somehow could not get the ball over the line with minus 10 seconds to go of the game. You know, we were already past stoppage time. I've heard from multiple people that he was offside as well, but the linesman didn't flag. So, you know, it was all on him to secure that 3 points, to secure a massive win that would have made such a statement in the title race, that would have broken Man City hearts, that would have destroyed any optimism they would have got from this result and the result that they got this weekend. But no, ORIGI had to absolutely spoon it into the hands of Lucas Fabianski. Why he doesn't put his foot through it, why he doesn't just quickly show it onto his right foot and absolutely wham it top corner, I do not know. You know, to be fair, the guy's rusty, he hasn't played much football, and he did look all right after he came on, but all we can remember from that game is the fact that ORIGI failed to make the strike that would have represented a massive win from Liverpool, and that is all I'm afraid we're going to take away from this game. You know, despite what happened over the other 90 minutes and how Liverpool, let's be honest, for most of the game weren't good enough to warrant 3 points in the first place. I think maybe the last half hour we started to switch it on. Certainly in the last half hour we kept West Ham at bay in a way we hadn't for the first 2/3 of the game. But on the balance of things, I think a draw is probably a fair result. I think West Ham had the better of the first half. We probably had the better of the second half on the balance of play, but neither team really looked amazing. Both teams looked all right in flashes. Both teams created some decent chances, but no one ever dominated the game. And it's something I highlighted in the pre-match video. If Liverpool want to win this game, they've got to manage it. They've got to be dominant. They've got to see it through with the minimum of fuss. And they made the most fuss they possibly could out this game. You know, the amount of times, set-piece routines that really you should defend easily. You know, Naby Keita on that Mikel Antonio goal. How is he letting Antonio go so easily? Just man-mark him. Just show him in a direction that isn't towards goal. Just get the ball ahead of him. Just use your physicality. And yeah, I can kind of see why we did struggle on set pieces, simply because of the personnel on the pitch. We didn't have a Henderson, we didn't have a Wijnaldum, we didn't have a Joe Gomez, we didn't have the kind of players outside of the two centre-backs that we normally have who can help out on set pieces to add that little bit of extra height and strength that sometimes we do lack. And so I think West Ham, they realised that. They knew the kind of 11 that Liverpool were going to have to put out for this game, and they exploited it to maximum effect. They clearly worked in the training ground on these set pieces, and that's a worry for me. That's a huge worry, because we've been caught out on set pieces against Palace. We've been caught out on set pieces against Leicester. Now West Ham are doing it as well. The last thing we need is teams to start seeing us as having a weak point from goal, from corner kicks, from free kicks, from any cross into the box. We became so good at that for the first half of the season, and it started to wane because of the lack of Joe Gomez, because of the lack of Dejan Lovren as well. I think he's got his flaws, obviously, but he's still imperious in the air, and he's still an important player for Liverpool. And I think, once again, as much as people have slated me in the comments for saying this and saying that Matip is better than Lovren, I think we missed him today, like we've missed him in the last few games. And I think it will be so important that he gets back as quickly as he possibly can for Liverpool, because he is a useful player, and when he's on form, he's an absolutely fantastic centre-back to have. Maybe not as your first choice centre-back, but certainly as someone you can call upon when other players like Joe Gomez aren't available. So just, I mean, to be honest, it was a poor performance in Liverpool again today, and that's what really rankles. That's what's going to upset fans going forward, is the fact that it's not just we're getting bad results. It's the same with the game against Leicester. The result we can almost stomach, because at the end of the day, we're still 3 points clear at the top of the league. But the performances are what are going to worry fans, and it's what's going to make people fret about that Bournemouth game in just 5 days' time. Because again, it feels the same as after the Leicester game. We've got to turn it round. We've got to make sure that this doesn't carry on, because as much as I don't think Liverpool do look nervous, we maybe look slightly like the occasion got the better of us tonight, but I certainly don't think we look like we're letting the pressure of the title race get to us in general. I think it's just that we're not performing very well. But the Leicester game, there were so many people talking about Liverpool having a wobble after that. There are going to be plenty of people talking about it after this game, and you know, it shouldn't get in the players' heads, but the newspapers are out there on the shelves. It's on the telly. All they have to do is, you know, leave their bed in the morning and they will see something about Liverpool potentially bottling and potentially crumbling under pressure. And we don't want that. And like, that Bournemouth game is going to be so important, especially because I'm pretty sure, I think Chelsea play on the Sunday and we play on the Saturday. So we've got to go out and make sure that we put out a statement, because we haven't got many games coming up where we play before Manchester City. So this is a huge chance to not necessarily put the pressure on, because the pressure's kind of off Man City at the moment and on Liverpool because we're the leaders and we're the ones who are being seen to make the wobble because of the performances we put in. And like I said, it's not that we're playing nervy, but if you do put in these kind of performances when the pressure's on you in the title race, people are going to say it's nerves no matter what. If you ask me, it's just a matter of injuries affecting the side. It's a matter of us having ridden our luck for a couple of games while playing players out of position and playing players who really shouldn't be there. You know, Fabinho at centre-back, Matip at centre-back as well, who really isn't our first choice by any stretch of the imagination in that position. Playing Milner at right-back, playing Henderson at right-back. We rode our luck for a couple of games against Palace and against Brighton, and now it's coming back to bite us. Now it's starting to cause us problems. So we've got to hope that those players come back fit as quickly as possible. We need Trent back for the Bournemouth game. We need Lovren back for the Bournemouth game. I mean, like I said, you can say what you like about Dejan Lovren, but if we get Trent and Lovren back for Bournemouth, that is the back four that we played in the Champions League games that got us to a European Cup final. So I would much rather play that back line against Bournemouth than the one that played tonight, because the one that played tonight, there are weaknesses in it. West Ham know that. Leicester knew it as well. Crystal Palace knew it as well. But all of those teams have exploited it and caused us problems. And as a result, we have been dropping points. Now, obviously, again, the takeaway is that we're still 3 points ahead. And I think it's so important that we have come through, well, hopefully come through, we're at least going through a bad run and we've still maintained a pretty decent lead. You know, this January, and of course the game tonight, which is in February, but still comes under that kind of, that difficult winter period that we always seem to have under Jurgen Klopp. We've been so poor, and yet Man City have cut a 7-point gap to a 3-point gap, and that includes them playing against us as well. You've got to take positives from that. You've got to look at that and say, you know what? We've kind of come out reasonably well from the fact that we've played really badly, and Man City have, by and large, apart from a couple of blips, been really solid. And the thing that I've been kind of saying to a lot of people is, the fact of the matter is, Liverpool are not going to make this title race easy. That's not how we do things. It's kind of a cliche that we will always make it as difficult as we possibly can, but you look at the top four race a couple of seasons ago where we were up against Arsenal, we made it go to the final day. You look at last season where, you know, we were in pole position to finish fourth, and we made it go right to the wire yet again where we had to get a win on the final day. So I would not be surprised if Liverpool make us wait until the very last day of the season against Wolves to actually get the Premier League title in the bag. But yeah, a disappointing performance. A lot of players who kind of played well in flashes, but then really poorly in other flashes. You know, Naby Keita, I think, summed up that performance. At times he looked great. At times he was electric on the ball. He was turning players, making passes, driving forward. He looked like the Keita we thought we'd signed, the Keita we thought was going to be the missing piece in the jigsaw that would make this Liverpool side tick. At times he was that tonight. At other times he was giving it away cheaply. He was making the wrong decisions. You know, he was just in the wrong places on the pitch. He looked completely out of touch and off the pace with the rest of the game. And that's just been the story of Naby Keita's Liverpool career so far. And I think it's good that he's getting the opportunities, while it's probably having a negative effect on the team as a whole, while I'd probably rather just play a Henderson and Fabinho double pivot and win every game 2-0 and be done with it. At least Naby Keita, if you, again, looking for positives, and I'm trying to do that, because like I said, with 3 points clear at the top of the league, I don't want to have a moan all the way through the video, but maybe it's coming for Naby Keita. Again, it felt like there were a few sliding doors moments tonight where he was getting towards goal. You're thinking, just hit it, just get the ball off, just get a shot off. You might score, you might get your career kick started at last, and it just doesn't work for him. And you're thinking it's gonna come at some point. It will definitely come for Naby Keita, but once again, tonight was not the night for him. Other players like Roberto Firmino, when he was on the ball, when he was dribbling, looked electric, looked like he was a real threat, looked like West Ham were terrified of going at him. And then he'd play a pass and he'd give it away really cheaply. He'd just let the ball go, and suddenly West Ham had a counter-attack again. And it was just, again, a really weird performance for Liverpool where they didn't look nervy. They just looked off it. They just looked out of form. And again, it seems to happen every January. And the only thing we can hope is that this was the last January game for Liverpool. And once we go out against Bournemouth, we will have recovered. We will have got back to form. Because obviously after Bournemouth, we've got another gap as well, another 10-day break. And that didn't seem to serve us too well with the Leicester game. So I'd rather see us kick into some form, give ourselves a boost going into this little mini break that we have before the Bayern game, and hopefully just get back to winning ways, because draws are annoying. Dropping points is annoying, and I'm so happy we haven't lost either of these games because we very easily could have done. We could have thrown those points away. Any other season, Liverpool probably do lose against Leicester and lose against West Ham tonight. So, look, if you're going to bed feeling like you just want to cry into your pillow, if you just want to give up on football, go into a coma until May and just be done with it, don't worry. We are still somehow 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, and that is something to shout about, even though the performance tonight definitely wasn't. So that is all for today's video. I'm sorry it's been a little bit of a rant. I haven't talked too much about the performance. It's more been about the general situation, but a lot of people have been moaning over the last few days and acting like it's the end of the world, and if I'm perfectly honest, it isn't. This is one of Liverpool's best seasons in recent memory, so please, for the love of God, ignore all the moaners on Twitter and enjoy the ride, because it's going to be absolutely fantastic and an absolute nerve shredder. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, as always, hit the like button down there, hit the subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days as well. Don't forget to follow at @ElipsisFocusTV on Twitter, and I'll be back soon with the pre-match content for the game against Bournemouth. Until then, bye for now.